Now, let's bring in our panel. Skyping in from Urbandale, Iowa, the president and CEO of the Family Leader, Bob Vander. And Skyping in from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, president of the Tripp Scott law firm, Ed Pozzuoli. Bob, you're on the ground in Iowa. What does it look like there? Who's ahead? Is it Trump or Dr. Carson or Carly or Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz? Who's ahead?
Well, it is still early, but there's no doubt that Trump is doing well, Carson and Fiorina. The outside candidates are really doing well, and you also have to include Ted Cruz in that. I think Ted Cruz probably has the best infrastructure, the best ground game right now. There's a guy named Bobby Jindal who seems to be surging a little bit as of late. But I would say we're 118 days yet, JD, from the Iowa caucuses. A lot to be played yet. It's something worth watching, though. The mood of the electorate is they want a real leader from the outside to lead.
Well, there's one piece of your answer that Ed may pick up on, and that's the word early. Because, Ed, we're taking a look at Jeb Bush. The polling doesn't look so good. Your reaction to those problems?
I don't know if they're problems. I think it's early, and you certainly don't want to peak too soon. Remember, JD, in 4 years ago, there were 9 front runners before Romney secured the nomination, and Iowa is still 100+ days away. I don't want to say this, but I wouldn't look down and bet against Jeb Bush right now.
All right, but I got to talk about closer to home. You know Florida like the back of your hand. Polling right now in Florida has Marco Rubio overtaking Jeb Bush. Still too early, huh?
Still too early, and I still think that some of the votes that Trump and Carson and Fiorina right now are gathering, is they're a good indicator of how angry Republican voters are. But the truth is that those voters are angry. They're not angry at the establishment necessarily. They're angry at Obama and his lack of leadership around the world and his lack of understanding how to make the economy grow, JD.
Hey, Bob, I want to get back to what's going on the ground in Iowa. Came up there to your big gathering this summer. No Jeb Bush. In retrospect, has he failed to do the retail politicking necessary in the Hawkeye State?
Well, I just read today in the Des Moines Register that he is going to double down on Iowa. He's going to be here a lot. I communicated with one of his leaders in the state of Iowa, and I said he's making a series of mistakes right now. One is missing our leadership summit. 2 is missing the Values Voters Summit in Washington, D.C. a couple weekends ago. This is a base that carried his dad and his brother to victories. He needs to show up. We have a big forum coming up in November. Jeb needs to be there, not only just to win Iowa, but if he becomes the nominee, he wants this base energized and motivated behind his candidacy.
Ed, I know you're saying it's early, but Dick Morris has gone on the record saying Jeb is done. Your reaction?
Dick Morris aside, this is still October. We have a long way to go, and he has both the infrastructure and organization and the money. And the one other thing, JD, when conservative voters really examine people like Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina, and all the others, and against Jeb's accomplishments, Jeb will be their choice.
Bob, before we go, social issues defunding Planned Parenthood seems to be capturing the nation's attention, and yet the dominant media culture tells us something different. Final 30 seconds to you on what's going on with Planned Parenthood.
Well, we're trying to get the governor of Iowa to defund Planned Parenthood here. Governors can actually do this, terminate that Medicaid contract. We're encouraging governors all over the country to do that as well. But this is where people want leadership. They're tired of not just Obama, but the establishment Republican Party as well, who's just going along to get along with only their name that they're the most interested in. People want attention paid to these issues.
All right, fair enough. We will have to leave it there. Bob and Ed, you have our thanks. Up next, Pat Buchanan on the TPP. Stay with us.